Now to Washington, where, as we mentioned today, the Democrats put forward legislation that would force the president's hand on the issue of Iraq, requiring him to bring the troops home by a date certain. Republicans immediately called the plan a terrible idea. NBC's Chip Reed has our report from Capitol Hill.
Under the House Democrats' plan, nearly all U.S. troops would be pulled out of Iraq by September 2008.
There are dates certain here for the first time in the Congress for the redeployment of our troops out of Iraq.
And if the Iraqis fail to meet security, political, and economic goals, the troops would come out even sooner, as early as the end of this year.
And we are back. Welcome all. Ted Koppel. The meeting in Iraq. Iranian, Syrian, Iraqis, U.S. What should we think about it?
Had to happen. I made a little note here of something that Ambassador Khalilzad said to you a moment ago. He said the region will not be stable until Iraq is stabilized. It's the one thing nobody talks about. Everyone is concerned about the United States being in the middle of a civil war inside Iraq. But they forget about the fact that if U.S. troops were to pull out of Iraq, that civil war could become a regional war between Sunnis and Shia. And the region, just in case anyone has forgotten, is the Persian Gulf, where we get most of our oil, and you and I have talked about this before, natural gas. So the idea of pulling out of there and letting that letting that national civil war expand into a regional civil war, something the United States cannot allow to happen.
This is the map of the Middle East region Ted Koppel and the ambassador were speaking of. If you will notice, Iraq is the heart of this area. The God of Heaven has focused our attention on this area by placing a beast-like figure in the political borders of the Middle East map. Please check this out on your own map and you will see. And Iraq is clearly the heart of this beast. As a matter of fact, it's in the shape of a heart. If you just notch it a quarter notch to the left, it looks just exactly like a heart. Now I believe there is biblical precedence for this quagmire in the area of Iraq, according to the 2nd chapter of Daniel. I'm going to play those scriptures from verse 36 through 44 that Daniel was interpreting a dream that the president of Iraq had 2,600 years ago. When you get down to the feet and toes, which is the area I believe in today, this is the area you will find that the words mixed and mingled appear. These words, mixed and mingle, associated with the toes, are translated from the Aramaic word Arab, and that's where we are today. In other words, when you get down into the toes of that statue Nebuchadnezzar dreamed, I believe you have democracy pictured as the clay, Islam pictured as the iron, and they are mixed and mingled together. You cannot mix and mingle Islam and democracy. It does not mix. Now pay close attention to what Daniel has to say about the toes of that great image.
This is the dream, and we will tell the interpretation thereof before the king. Thou, O king, art a king of kings, for the God of heaven hath given thee a kingdom, power, and strength, and glory. And wheresoever the children of men dwell, the beasts of the field and the fowls of the heaven hath he given into thine hand, and hath made thee ruler over them all. Thou art this head of gold. And after thee shall arise another kingdom inferior to thee, and another third kingdom of brass, which shall bear rule over all the earth. And the fourth kingdom shall be strong as iron, forasmuch as iron breaketh in pieces and subdueth all things. And as iron that breaketh all these shall it break in pieces and bruise. And whereas thou sawest the feet and toes, part of potter's clay and part of iron, the kingdom shall be divided. But there shall be in it of the strength of the iron, forasmuch as thou sawest the iron mixed with miry clay. And as the toes of the feet were part of iron and part of clay, so the kingdom shall be partly strong and partly broken. And whereas thou sawest iron mixed with miry clay, they shall mingle themselves with the seed of men. But they shall not cleave one to another, even as iron is not mixed with clay. And in the days of these kings shall the God of heaven set up a kingdom which shall never be destroyed. And the kingdom shall not be left to other people, but it shall break in pieces and consume all these kingdoms, and it shall stand forever.
Now please go online to my website, thewatchmanstime.com, And go to the fourth article on the left titled In the Feet of Daniel chapter 2 for a more in-depth study of exactly where we're at in this timeline. Thank you and God bless you.